We've got that weekend feeling, and what a weekend it is. The curtain comes down on the jump season at Sandown. Great racing everywhere else. We'll be bringing you all the big calls on all the big races. This is What a Shout, the Racing Post flagship weekend feature show. Dave Orton back with you. Absolutely delighted to be so. Absolutely delighted that Paul Kealy joins me back in the studio. You had a week off, man.
Well, I sat at home. I did.
We had an hour of your time.
I did appear. Yeah, I had a bit of time off. Yeah, a bit of golf. Yeah, it was good. Glad to be back. Really looking forward to it. I love this meeting. Apart from the fact that it heralds the end of the jump season, obviously.
Well, you're local to the track, aren't you?
I go every single year, and I know our resident bookmaker, Pat Cooney, is going to be there, and I'm hankering after a job for the day just so I can turn up. But I mean, I don't think he's going to let me go.
Here's a bit of irony. Let's go to Pat then. We've been seeing him in his home office, adorned by all his racing pictures in the background. Now, where is he now? Pat, where are you?
I'm about 5 miles from Sandown Park Racecourse in a hotel, and I'm here for the 2 days. And it's the first time I've been out the house for 6 months. And as excited as I am, no one's more pleased about it than my wife. She was waving me off with a big smile yesterday.
And all the viewers will be loving it because, of course, it means we're trending in the right direction. So all you owners out there, if you win a prize tomorrow, you know who will be handing you the trophy. Watch out. Pat Cooney is back. Great to see. Who's the guest then this week? Well, we've had him lined up for a little while. The now retired 4-time champion jockey returning to the show. This is not, of course, your first spell on here. Richard Johnson.
Hi, everybody.
How are you, Richard?
Yeah, very good, very good. Like I say, it's a bit of a shock over the last couple of weeks, but great to be here this morning.
A little bit more chilled out now, Dickie, I assume.
But I think, to be honest, everyone thinks I've got nothing to do now. So everyone, from my wife to my children to everyone else, thinks I've got loads of spare time. So I think I seem busier than ever. So, but no, it's a different way of life. But hopefully lots to look forward to.
I bet you can't wait to delete our senior producer Rob Lee's number after this week. He's been chasing you throughout, hasn't he? Dickie, great to have you on. Let's get a graphic up on the screen. I've really been looking forward to this. We're going to indulge ourselves a little bit, viewers, in this. Now, these are the top 10. In fact, there's 11 of them. By Racing Post rating, the top 10 horses that Dickie rode, when he rode them, by Racing Post rating. Look at the top of that list. You can see there. Native River, of course, I think in the later stages of your career, and we'll get to him. He turned out to be a very poignant horse for you, didn't he? But Gloria Victis, we can see there. Let's go down the list all the way down to Landing Light, some real world-class horses. Before we go to Richard Kills, I want to ask all of us, which one was your favourite on that list?
Oh, Rooster. I mean, a lot of them are favourites. I used to be quite a big fan of Landing Light as well, funnily enough, that was down the bottom of them. But no, Rooster was amazing. And I remember telling people, this was before I was tipping on horses, this Rooster Booster's going to win the championship. I was getting ridicule of certain people in the office. And I was absolutely convinced. And he'd gone through the season unbeaten. And you think, if he hadn't been so old, and he'd won the Supreme Novices a year before rather than the County Hurdle, it'd have been even money. Like, you know what I mean? Because the form was all there. But early in his career, it was like you need to put him on the line, didn't you? He'd come through and he might not find that much. And he just tanked through that Champion Hurdle. You just go and watch it. You've never seen. And I remember I was there and I was going, don't go now. Thinking, how are we going to get up the hill? And he just went further and further away. Oh, it was fantastic.
Everyone had an association with him, Richard. He was like Oliver Twist, wasn't he? Like, how many seconds do you want, man? And then he won the County Hurdle and he just transformed himself. That day when he won the Champion Hurdle, everyone thought it was all about Rhinestone Cowboy, but didn't he win well that day?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Like I say, they went into Sky Falcon, went off, a real proper strong gallop all the way, and he settled nicely. And if anything, I got, halfway, he actually started getting keener then, and everything else started to stop, and it just felt like I was, everything else was coming back to me, and I was getting keener and keener. And like Keel said, I was thinking to myself, wait, and literally, he was pulling going to the second last, and I came off the home bend, and I thought, right, we'll go now. Literally, he just took off, and he flew the last hurdle, and that was definitely one of my best days. And for Philip and me, I think that was probably one of the highlights of of our careers.
Oh, what a great start then, and what a shout. And we like to have a bit of fun here. I remember being there that day, Rich. I saw you fly up the hill, and I thought, that's a certainty at Aintree. We won't mention who needs a whip, Richard? I mean, okay. No, but my favourite, Richard, was Looks Like Trouble. I think there's no doubt in that. Loads of people will remember him. And this is a special horse for you. It was the first Gold Cup winner that I backed. He was an incredible horse. Remember that day in 2000. What a race that was. And he spent a bit of time with you, didn't he, of course, after his retirement. In fact, is he still there?
Yeah, he's... if I look out the window, I can hear him and Manora. They're munching away at grass now. So, no, he's 29 now, and he's a family pet. And obviously was trained by my father-in-law. He wasn't my father-in-law at the time, but he is now. And... like you say, he was an amazing horse, and I only picked the ride up, a few weeks before, and I don't think I didn't appreciate it at all at the time, how hard it was hard to get a ride in the Gold Cup, let alone win it. And obviously it took me a long time to do it again. So, but he was a very, very talented horse. Obviously won the RSA the year before as well. So, he was just a very good horse. Unfortunately, his body didn't take racing that well, and he had niggling injuries for a lot of his career. But all of a sudden now he seems very happy out in the field eating, so he's good.
Like yourself, a bit chilled out. I tell you, that's one way to impress your father-in-law, Noel Chance, of course. I think I took my wife on holiday. I think it was and showed I had a few quid in the bank. Rich rode a Gold Cup winner. Unbelievable scenes. Pat Cooney, what's your favourite?
It's not often a horse has a race named after him, but tomorrow we've got the Bet365 Oaksey Chase for the Manora Trophy. Now, Manora won this race 4 times in a row. Throw in the Bet365 Charlie Hall Chase. He was a top-class hurdler, a top-class novice chaser. He ran in probably one of the hottest Arkles there's been for many a year, and he was still strutting this stuff right to the end of his career. I'm sure Richard would have some great memories of him. I used to thoroughly enjoy him, watching him run. And every time he won at Sandown, he used to get a rousing reception. So he was my favourite.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, again, he's out in the field with Looks Like Trouble. So, and I still ride him regularly. And funny enough, I retired at Newton Abbot on the Saturday. I think 3 days later, the kids were still on Easter holidays. So I went out riding with Willow, my daughter, and she jumped a little hurdle out in the field. And obviously, Manora hadn't jumped anything for a while. So I tried to follow her, and he stopped, and I went straight on and fell straight off. So he's still a character, but no, he's in great form, and he loved Sandown. I think it really suited him. He was a real horse that loved decent, good ground, and Sandown at the end of the season, it was unfortunately we could done with another couple of Grade 1 races after that, but unfortunately it was always the end of the season which he came good.
And Gloria Victis at the top of that list, of course, Richard. Now, some younger viewers will have no idea who that is. Honestly, look back at the replay of when Richard won the Racing Post Chase, a former Racing Post Chase at Kempton. I'm going to say that was that 2000 as well? Maybe it was in the 90s, was it, Rich? I can't remember exactly when that was, the date. I can remember exactly where I was. I was in a betting shop in Knightsbridge trying to get on. It was absolutely rammed, and the place went absolutely mental in jubilation. Everyone was on him that day in the famous colours of Terry Neal, of course. How did you come by getting that ride? Remind us, Richard.
Well, let's say one man's disappointment is what other man's joy. I think it unfortunately AP got suspended somewhere obviously 2 weeks before, and I sort of came in for the ride, and I'm sure AP wasn't that chuffed to watch him, but obviously he was excited to watch him because he was going to look forward to him for the future, but obviously unfortunately he didn't have a very long future ahead of him, but no, he was amazing that day. He jumped unbelievable, like Martin Pipe just said, let him go, and looking back on it, I was probably too brave and going too fast, but he jumped amazing. He travelled. I think he was only a young horse. He's only a novice chaser. But yeah, look, I've seen every time they have the same race every year, you always see a quick replay, and even now, sort of, you can't quite believe how fast he went, how well he jumped, and he carried top weight as well. So it was a huge performance, and he was very, very good.
He gave £15 to Marlborough, who the following season won what was the replacement Gold Cup at Sandown, didn't he? Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're talking about a really, really top-class effort from a young horse.
And he had to get one over on AP, didn't he? If it did happen out there. Well, absolutely fantastic stuff. So there you go. Some absolute world classes amongst the 3,500 winners that Dickie rode. Okay, let's have a look at what's coming up on the show then. The hot topic. We'll be giving you a jump season review and a bit of taste of what's to come next term. We'll be giving you 4 massive race previews at Sandown, the feature Bet365 Gold Cup amongst them, and of course the all-important weekend winners. If you'd like to sign up to our sponsors Bet365 ahead of their big weekend at Sandown, you can do so with a referral code. Shout365, type that in when entering. Minimum £5 deposit for up to 100 bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. Racing clues. Well, as a whole, let's look back on this glorious jump season. Not the jump season we knew, Keels, because of the global pandemic, of course, but give us a highlight of the campaign itself.
Yeah, as a highlight, I think, I'm going to go away from Cheltenham. I didn't have a very good Cheltenham anyway, but this isn't a horse I backed. Well, Frodon winning the King George, I thought was fantastic. Getting all them jockeys stuck in behind and getting him jumping out, and he's such a popular horse. And I've always loved him. I've probably missed his best days as far as punting's concerned, but. It always brings a smile on my face when a horse like that wins. He's been around forever. He's still only 9. It was just a remarkable day. I mean, it was 16-1, wasn't he? Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, I couldn't have him on my mind, but.
I'm not totally surprised you said that. I think some people out there might be, but again, the King George was just as a spectacle, and Brian Ian and everything. It was a wonderful spectacle. No fans,
I mean,
of course.
He won a big handicap at Cheltenham at the age of 4. Remember?
Yeah.
A chase. So he's just like
a freak.
Yeah, just keeps on going, doesn't he?
And that big day in the sun. It's hard not to talk about the Grand National, isn't it? I think. Never mind the Irish dominance of the race, but I thought as a spectacle, Richard, perhaps let's bring you in here. Rachael Blackmore, the first woman jockey. All right, we've done that one now. We're over that hurdle, thankfully. We can tick it off. I thought as a spectacle, it was fantastic again.
Yeah, no, it was. I think, and actually, I think the whole year, because obviously people haven't been racing. I think ITV, and all the racing channels that they've covered it really well, and I think actually it showed brilliant sport. At the top level, I think Cheltenham and Aintree, I think, was all fantastic. Obviously frustrating if you're an English jockey or trainer or owner, but at the same time, yeah, I think as you sort of come to the Grand National, all the stories were positive, and Rachael Blackmore, I don't think it matters that who she is or what she is. I mean, she was riding out of her skin, and obviously Henry de Bromhead's horses are running out of their skin. I think the two of them together have just been. I think that's probably been the highlight of the season. Their combination has been unbelievable, and obviously they're coming to Sandown tomorrow to try and finish off the season as well. So I think hopefully the British can withstand them again.
A teaser of what's to come. We mentioned Frodon, runs, and of course Rachael Blackmore, Henry de Bromhead, they come over for the big race. Pat Cooney, a seasonal highlight.
Well, I'm going to pick a horse called the Shunter, who defied me every single time he ran, really. He won over hurdles, he won over fences, he won at the Cheltenham Festival. And then I thought he was an unlucky loser at Aintree last time in the novice chase. He's been bought by JP McManus, so I was thinking, at what point does this horse stop improving? But if JP's bought him, there's obviously room for further improvement. And if he keeps improving again, he could be a force over hurdles, over the fences, anything. And of course, he won the £100,000 bonus that we had with our association with Kelso. So that put that event on the map as well. So he cost us a few quid as bookmakers, but he promoted the Kelso bonus offer really, really well for us. So he was my horse of the year. And there were 2 or 3 highlights wrapped up in one horse with him.
That's seamlessly led me on to my punting low. We're going to do a punting high and a punting low for you. The Shunter is my punting low, and I just got him wrong. But this is a classic tale of a punter and not so much forgiving a horse. I just got it wrong. I really fancied him after his great whip when he ran at the Dublin Racing Festival when he finished 3rd over fences. And I thought, right, this is the one for the Racing Post plate. They then went for the Moor battle, and I'm thinking, well, he's going to go over hurdles, isn't he? Of course he is. So I didn't back him in the Moor battle. I backed Night Edition, who was second to him. I then let him go at Cheltenham when he went over fences. Of course he won. And where did I back him again? At Aintree. and he's clouted the last couple of fences, and he's gone in. So the shunter and me are on this little journey. That would be my punting low. I'll give you my punting high quickly. It's not like a pat on the back, but I saw Soaring Glory a long way out for the Betfair hurdle, I think, when he got beaten by Dusart at Newbury. So that was a real cheer for me, and hopefully some of you were on as well. Punting low. That's as low as it goes, isn't it?
Well, I've got a high and low, and it's the same horse. It's funny, at the start of the season, where in November, I was telling everybody, this Sky Pirate needs dropping at 2 miles. He's got to be dropped to 2 miles. I mean, it's a horse that ran in the Kid Muir 2 seasons before, and he will only come good if he's dropped to 2 miles. And I had people like Melrose in the office telling me, listen, he's a twicer, that's all he is. I said, no, he wants 2 miles. So, I went in the paper, said this is one of the best handicapped horses around. He bolts up at Cheltenham. I told everybody, this is a certainty for the Grand Annual. Put him away now, and he'll win the Grand Annual. It'll be all over. He's a good thing. And had he not run since, I would have absolutely filled my boots. But he ran again, won a handicap, went further out of the weights. Then he got beaten all ends up by All Mankind at Warwick, where he looked like he couldn't pick up a leg and was knackered. And I thought he's over the top now. So I then started telling everybody, sorry lads, he's got no chance now. And having backed him at 8, small, he's gone off at 16s, 14s or whatever, and won the bloody race. So yeah, that's a punting high and a punting low.
Short-head
I love the horse.
I can remember, if you look back to What a Shouts, the eve of when he ran at the December meeting at Cheltenham, I was thinking, come on, you're an absolute pirate yourself putting this up, aren't you? And of course, he went and won on the bridle. So, Pat Cooney, punting high and low.
Punting high, Live, Love, Laugh in the Topham recently at Aintree. That was good fun. That was straightforward. I promised I'd back him if he did run in the race.
That's really rubbing it in for Keels, that is. I mean, this is great. Absolutely. Sky Pirate, Live, Love, Laugh, all these long-range ones he wasn't on.
But I have a low, and I'm going to partially blame Richard Johnson here as well, actually, because although I won on the day, 16th of January, I had a multiple bet. Sky Pirate, all at Warwick. Sky Pirate, Not a Chance, Imperial Alcazar. And I was looking at the Leamington Novice Hurdle. It was on the television. I had the day off, and I fancied Mint Condition of Jenny Candlish. And I I was looking at Admiral, and I was thinking, he's moving up in trip. I don't know. But it was Mint Condition was beaten in the neck under an inspirational ride by Richard Johnson. So the biggest compliment I can play you, Richard, is I wish you'd retired the day before that race.
Very good. Yeah, okay, Dickie, let's come to you now, because we're going to look for a horse to follow next season. The guy's going to give some ante-post bets as well. You're allowed a tipple now as well, Richard, it must be said. And Adramel, is he a horse that we should be looking forward to over fences? You don't have to say yes, just because Tom Lacey might be listening.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. But he soft stroke heavy ground for him is what he needs. Like he copes with nearly unraceable conditions, like it's good ground, and then unfortunately when the ground improves, everything else can speed up, and he just unfortunately he can't speed up. He's got his gear. But he is definitely a good horse, and I'd say, I'm sure, over fences that will bring out the best of him. He won an Irish Point before he came over here, and but very, very soft ground. When you see that next year, very soft ground, then he can get on.
There's the tip. That's what you wanted to tune in for, isn't it? Let's stick with you then, Dickie. When we looked at these ante-post selections and what we might put up, I must admit I was quite tempted to go with the stayers and time. I see him 5-6 to 1. I could see him going off quite a bit shorter on the day. If Flooring Porter comes back, but you'd like to see Time Hill have a crack at Flooring Porter, wouldn't you? And let's just talk about this horse a little bit, Dickie. You said after Native River had not regained the Gold Cup that you would have probably retired then and there had he gone and done it. This must have been tempting to stick around for, surely. They always say, you hear all the greats, AP, Ruby Walsh, Frankie Dettori on the flat. They need these horses to keep them going. This must have been tempting to you to stick around for, surely.
Yeah, no, it was. But, I on the run up to Cheltenham, I'd made my decision that, if Native River had won, and obviously I was hoping to ride Tyne Hill at Cheltenham, and it was gutting when he got that little niggling injury. And I think, the owners were very, very good with Philip, and said, Philip, you do what you think is right for the horse. And I think, he did, and they got their reward with the winner at Aintree. But, once I made the decision, I felt that, I'd made it in my own head that I wasn't going to go to ride at Aintree. It was one of those sort of, it's hard to quite know when I should stop. But the day at Newton Abbot, I had a good book of rides. We were hoping we'd ride a winner for Philip and Barrett that way, but we didn't. But I just, for me, it was the right time, and I've no regrets ever since. And actually, I got told off by my children and my wife. We were watching Time Hill run at Aintree, and I was shouting him home, and apparently I was quite an aggressive watcher of racing, apparently. So I was told to calm down. Well, but for me, it was very important to, for Philip to, for every yard, it's festival winners are really important. Grade winners are really important. And I thought for Tom O'Brien, it was fantastic. He's been, playing second fiddle to me for a lot of years, and he's been fantastic at the yard, and he's always been worked very hard, and I thought it was great to see him get his opportunity as well to shine on the big day. So it was frustrating to watch it. I can't deny that, but at the same time, I think once I'd made the decision, it was the right thing for me to do it when I did, and it was nice to see Philip though have a big winner at Cheltenham after after they just had a frustrating season with health this year, and fingers crossed next year they can look forward to a busy season with, I would think, maybe 1 or 2 nicely handicapped horses as well.
I'm surprised that surprises you, that you're an angry viewer of racing, Richard, because it's fair to say that you have publicly been frustrated on that horse. Do you remember in the Albert Bartlett when you got beaten? You punched the air like you'd won it because you were so gutted. And then at Ascot, sorry to bring this up, there's no crowd. We all heard you turn the air blue, man.
I know, yeah. It's, I think I get more angry at myself than I do at anybody else. but no, so, as we say, obviously Tyne Hill's a good example, but those big races, the grade ones as well, they are very important, and I think for me, for the trainers, for the staff in the yards, they definitely sort of lift morale, and everyone looks forward to them. And when you sometimes feel like it's not gone your way, or you've obviously just got beat the shortest of margins, it's more than frustrating. But no, I think again, if you didn't have that, if you don't feel like that, I don't think you should be doing competitive sport at any level, let alone the level we were doing it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's a bit like that, Rich. And let's face it, you won 40 of them. That's what we counted at the top level. Okay, ante-post selection for next season, Paul Kealy.
Yeah, he won't shout at the telly as loud as I do.
No one. Not even I'll do that, man.
I can assure you of that. Well, look, when it comes to ante-post, I mean, what happens in the ante-post markets for Cheltenham is all the horses that run really well at Cheltenham the year before are in the front end of the market for all the races the following year, whether it's chases, hurdles, whatever. So I'm going to go a different route. There was a horse that was bought from France, sent over to Willie Mullins, and was talked of in terms of being a potential superstar for fences, and he seemingly shown Willie Mullins enough to be asked to run in the champion hurdle on his debut as a 5-year-old for the yard. It's James de Burley. Now, he didn't run particularly well. He was there, and he was there 2 out. But he was well beaten in the end. But this is a horse that ran in the first 9 consecutive times in France, in listed and graded races, all the way up to Grade 1. And the French had him rated 164. I know their ratings tend to be a little bit inflated. But he's bought specifically to go over fences. And he's 33 for the Marsh, and he's 33 for the Arkle. And I'm sure that he isn't going to be that price middle of the way through the next season. You're obviously going to get these, let's say Appreciated goes over fences. That is obviously going to be short, but he's the youngster. I mean, Appreciated's 7 already. He's a youngster. He could have loads of improvement in him, and he could be. I mean, they think in France he was pretty much a star. He could be a star, but he's not priced like one at the moment.
Very interesting. There's a lot of good judges talking about how he was going to run well in the champion hurdle, weren't there? Very interesting indeed. I'm like Keels as well. Yeah, absolutely. I looked at these ante-post markets. I thought Segura hard for the Supreme. I thought fair enough. Ran about 5 to 1. I'm going to go slightly different as well. Ladbrokes Trophy in November next season. As soon as the market comes up for that, if there is one out there, have a look for Next Destination, the 3rd in the National Hunt Chase at the Cheltenham Festival. Paul Nicholls, this is the target. It's a race he wins. Everything will be perfect for him there. Of course, already has one over the course as a chaser as well. Pat Cooney.
Well, I think it's very important that we get some good UK trained horses at the festival next year with leading chances. We can't have another 23-5 scoreline. And I think there's two horses in particular that catch my eye, neither of which ran at the festival. Monmiral of Paul Nicholls, who's won at Aintree. Whether he goes hurdling, stays hurdling, or goes over fences, he's a very exciting horse. I think Paul was saying about the Fighting Fifth at Newcastle might be a race for him. But the horse I'm really excited about watching again is My Drogo for the Skeltons. A real high-class hurdler, this, and it looks as though he's going to go chasing. He's going to be a formidable horse when he jumps fences. He's definitely a horse to follow. And finally, we've got two there who I would imagine would be very comparable to their Irish counterparts. So I'm in the My Drogo team.
Oh, there you go then. Some real exciting horses to look forward to. So we've looked back. It's not quite over yet. If you're watching in Ireland, of course, you're thinking what you're on about. We've got Punchestown Festival coming up. But there are some exciting chases to follow next season. First of the big race previews coming your way at Sandown on Saturday. That's where we're concentrating. It is the opener, the 155, the Novices Championship Handicap Hurdle. Looks pretty tricky, this, so let's get some help from Paul Kealy at the top of the show.
Yeah, it should be tricky. It's a very good prize. It's not far short of the handicap prize money that was on offer at Cheltenham. So, for a novice handicap at Sandown at the end of the season, very good prize. It is hard. I quite like the look of Paz Volsky. One last time at Kempton, Chris Gordon said afterwards, I hope we haven't blown our mark because the novice handicap final at Sandown is the aim. And I think he obviously likes a bit of decent ground. He had Royaume Uni back and forth that day. Yeah. He's slightly worse off, but not worse off enough for the 8 lengths he beat him. And he's a bigger price. It's just been laid out for it. I think it's it's a very hard race. If On to Victory is as he's still very, very well handicapped based on his flat ability, off a mark of 127, given he was 105 on the flat, something like that. Most of his form is soft ground form. We don't know what the ground is going to be like yet, but it's saying good to firm in places. Although they've been sticking 10 mil a day. Yeah. 10 mil a day for the whole of April. And it's still good to firm in places. End of the day, I don't live that far away, and the ground where I am, everywhere I am, is absolutely bone hard. I've never known it like it in April. So, it's been cold, but it's been sunny and windy at the same time. So it's obviously drying out all the time. I quite like Paz Volsky. Herbier and Royaume Uni, they were first and second in a race at Ascot. They'd got chances as 4-year-olds on low weights. But the 6-year-old, I thought he had a bit more up his sleeve at Kempton. Yeah,
it's one of these minefield sort of races. On to Victory, I thought, was still well handicapped. He's my pick. I can see him smuggling through the race late. It's just about a case of whether he goes on the ground, says kills. There have been compliments this week, Pat Cooney, of people that have walked the track. In fact, Andrew Cooper, if you look on his Twitter feed, the clerk of the course, I think he tweeted from what the ground was like in February to what it is now. It looks lush. Maybe not quite Aintree, but it should be fair for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. They always do a wonderful job there, and hats off to them. I saw the picture of it, and it looks in great shape. So looking forward to it. As for the race itself, it's hard enough to know what will go a favourite. Never mind win. We've been betting on the race all week. The best bet horse in the race is the one I actually fancy, number 14, right at the bottom, Royaume Uni for the Gary Moore stable. And there was lots and lots of money for him when he was beaten at Ascot last time by Herbier. But I just look at his flat form. He's won over 2 miles on the flat, and maybe a really fast run race. I think this is bound to be a fast run race. And the uphill finish, the good ground, low weight. I think Roy Meany has just about got the best edge over all of these at the moment.
A couple of mentions for Gary Moore's bottom weight then. Dickie, if you could ride anyone in this?
I'd go with Pawlowski too. I actually rode him in an all-weather bumper at Ran Lingfield at the start of the season, and really liked him. I think he'll love the decent ground. He'll stay very, very well. So Chris Gordon, I think he's a really, really good trainer, and I think the horse will be really well suited to the course and the ground.
Well, it looks like a minefield, but we have narrowed it down for you. That's the 155 at Sandown. 2:30, let's get on to some graded action. It's the Oaksey House Chase, of course, now named after Menorah. It looks like a bit of a match-up. We've got the King George winner, Frodon, coming back out. Mr. Fisher, something to prove as well. Born Survivor in there, and Militarian as well, of course, for Andrew Martin, whose horses always seem to threaten to win a big one whenever they turn up. He will look dangerous at some point, trust me. But Dickie, how do you think this race is going to go? He's a short price, Frodon. He deserves to be, right?
He does. You look at he's a King George winner. He's got the best form in the race. Jimmy, he's had some hard. He's had only 4 runs this year. He's had some hard days at the office as well. He hasn't been. He's had to work hard for those victories. I just thought Mr. Fisher, if he gets it right, I think again the really good ground, probably good fast ground. Tomorrow afternoon, it just could play to his favours really, and obviously Frodon will bowl along. If Nico can get a nice toe, I don't think there's that much between them. And Mr. Fisher he needs to get his act back together. But I think if Nicky Henderson's horses always come right as well in the spring on some decent ground, I'd just might favour Mr. Fisher, rather than going for the obvious Frodon.
Now that is interesting, and this is our shunter, isn't it? This is the shunter, Mr. Fisher, because we both backed him in the Ryanair. We know what happened there. Left his hind legs in the water jump. Went to Aintree. He was either very good or not so good.
This is the problem with Mr. Fisher. I think it's a confidence issue, and it started at Aintree. He'd actually jumped pretty well. He travelled beautifully at Aintree, and then he made that horrific mistake at the water jump, which I said we don't like water jumps. I mean, it could have been a career-ending mistake. Yeah. Dragging your hind legs through and doing your back in and whatever, and to come back on the bridle after that. Just shows you that there's an awful lot of talent there. But from then on, his jumping went to pieces. And at Aintree, he jumped like a stag out in front to start with. And anyway, one mistake, and then he fell. Yeah. And then, you've got those 7 fences down the back. He's got to get every one of those right, which Frodon will, not pestered on the lead. So my edge, in terms of ability, I don't think there's that much between them.
He did take up the early lead, didn't he, Mr. Fisher?
I did take up the early lead. I'm not 100% certain that was the plan initially. But, I mean, he looked perfectly happy going in front.
Yeah, this is a tricky puzzle, Kills, because Frodon sort of has to lead. He had to get the lead in the Gold Cup. Everyone knew that. That's what they wanted to do. And he ran himself into the ground a bit. Dickie passed him up running for 4th, didn't he, on Native River, of course. He's had more time off, but I just find this a very, very tricky puzzle. Which way are you playing?
I'd be leaning towards Frodon because Mr. Fisher's got to jump those 7 down the back twice.
Yeah, I'm the same. Dickie Johnson going for Mr. Fisher. What does Pat Cooney say?
Well, I wish Minora was running in it, to be honest with you. Mr. Fisher, the honeymoon's over, really. Fancied him Cheltenham, fancied him Aintree.
Where'd he go, Skegness? no disrespect to Skegness.
The honeymoon's over. Sorry and everything. Frodon, jump well, make all. That's the form book comment, isn't it? I expect him to win.
Okay, all right. Frodon then. Keep it simple. But Dickie Johnson says he might not have it all his own way. Okay then, replacing the big calls this week, we're going to chat about the tragic incident, the death of Lorna Brooke after a fall on April the 8th at Taunton. The amateur jockey lost her life. Dickie Johnson, I know that you were very close to her. She's indeed a local to you. It was a real big shock, Rich, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, she's someone I've known for an awful long time, and she rode out for lots of trainings that I did, and she lives locally to us as well, and we know the family well, and it just really brings home I think the reality sometimes that how dangerous the sport is, and at the moment just we were all in shock on Monday when we heard the news, and our thoughts are with her family, and it's a very, very difficult time, and she was always a smiley, happy person that loved life. She rode as an amateur because she just loved doing it. It was purely her passion. She rode, mainly for her mum as well. Obviously, she rode for other people too, but her mum was very involved, and they did it as a team. And just very, very sad. And she'll be sorely missed. And it really brings home the reality sometimes of what everyone does every day.
Absolutely, and that's I think worth ramming home, isn't it? I didn't know her personally, Dickie, but I do remember that unfailing smile. I mean, it was an ear-to-ear grin, wasn't it, whenever you saw her? And I remember on horses like Spock, for example, she got a great tune out of them. Kills a shocking incident, outpouring of grief from the racing community, quite rightly so. And it's a reminder of what these guys put them through each day.
Well, yeah, Yeah, I mean, every time you get on a horse, there's an element of danger, isn't there? I mean, it's desperately sad. I mean, I like you said, I didn't know either, but when you see the pictures that were in the racing post, I mean, she just looked like somebody was bursting with enthusiasm and joy, and yeah, it's desperately sad. It is an incredibly dangerous sport. I mean, you think of the days when they didn't ride with back protectors and fully protective hats and all that in the past, and we used to have. Stone rails as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we try and make it as safe as possible, but it could never be that safe because you're dealing with live animals running at 35, 40 mile an hour. Yeah, so just desperately sad.
Yeah, absolutely tragic, Pat, wasn't it? And a reminder sometimes, what these jockeys are putting themselves through, the social media grief they get, what they're going through each day. Just a little reminder to just be a little bit kinder out there.
Absolutely. I mean, as fans of the sport and as punters, we take so much for granted, don't we? But they're the ones, they've got the tough rides, haven't they? I just sort of feel desperately sad for the family. And I did look at the photograph of her winning the ladies' race at Fairyhouse. Big beaming smile. We've always got that to fall back on. But yeah, condolences to all the family.
She did a lot of great work for the Indian Jockeys Fund as well. Lorna Brooke, aged 37. That smile gone, but never forgotten. .305, Grade 1 Chase. It is the Celebration Chase, the brilliantly named Celebration Chase. He's back, or we think he might be back. It's Altior. At the declaration time, he's back anyway. He, of course, has won the last couple of renewals of this when it was on. He's got Put the Kettle On to beat Kills, the reigning Queen Mother champion chaser. So Royale, who he has the verdict over a couple of times, but desperately unlucky, wasn't he, in the Queen Mother champion chase. Griana team ran really well in that. If there's a pace on, he could yet turn up, or newer likely pace angle. Where are we playing?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, heart ruling head in many respects. I mean, Altior's everybody, a favourite horse of everybody, but So Royale's a bit of favourite of mine. He's just another one that's been around forever. Keeps coming up, and he seems to be in the best form of his life this year. And I think he would have gone very, very close in the champion chase if he hadn't been nearly brought down 3 out, just after 3 out on the bend. He's only got less than 4 lengths to find. We Put the Kettle On based on that run with that real bad bit of interference. And he loves Sandown, and he loves good ground. I mean, he won the Henry VIII Novices Chase by 11 lengths a few years ago, and obviously finished second to Altior here a couple of years ago when it looked like he might be coming with a winning run. Now, obviously, we know how much Altior finds when he's on form, but we don't know what sort of form Altior is in, do we? I treat him as a non-runner until the tapes go up these days. We'll wait and see. He may still be the best 2 mile chaser in Britain, but he's 11, and these are fast horses, and I know Nicky Henderson says he wants fast ground, but all his best form's on soft ground. We'll wait and see. It's good to firm in places now.
He adores this track, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does like this track. He's very fresh. You certainly wouldn't say he couldn't win. He definitely can. He might end up going off favourite.
It's typical of the racing public and sporting public in general, isn't it? That you get these champions, they get knocked down a little bit, and then we bring them back up a bit. When he's not favourite, you tend to jump on him. But I'm with you. I think So Royale is just the solid option in there. Dickie, some top 2 milers here. If you could sit on one?
Like you say, if you go back in time, Altior is definitely the one you want to ride. But you are, you're sort of back in the unknown. He was the best horse, but whether he still is unknown. I think you'd have to go on what we know this year, and there's very little between So Royale and Put the Kettle On. I just think Put the Kettle On, she just tries and tries. She's just one of those that she never seems to let you down. And again, I think I know she perhaps was lucky, or So Royale was unlucky in the champion chase, but she still stuck her head down and was the best horse on the day. So for me, if I was going to ride one, she's the one I'd want to ride. She jumps really well. Again, she's got a great attitude. I think the track will suit her really well. So I think it's probably one of the best races on tomorrow. I think you've got three more than three, but 3 very, very good horses. It'll be definitely run at a very, very fast tempo. And yeah, for me, Put the Kettle On is one I'd want to sit on.
Yeah, I mean, she ticks a lot of boxes, and she rising finish, decent ground. She jumps really well, touch wood. Pat Cooney, what sort of price should we be expecting here with Altior in the race? He's not favourite.
No, not at the moment. And big thank you to Henry de Bromhead for sending over Put the Kettle On. She could have waited for Punchestown. So big thank you to him. It's just a fascinating race, isn't it? You know, we're talking to the fellas on Zoom in the office and so forth all week. No one fancied Altior. But then we got the declarations through on yesterday, and he's wearing cheek pieces for the first time. And how many people have turned around and said, God, I'd love to see this fella in blinkers or cheek pieces so that he might not hit a flat spot anymore. Well, today you got it. He's got cheek pieces on for the first time. And that, to me, may just make the difference. So Put the Kettle On. She's got that £7 mare's allowance. So Royal was unlucky, of course. The value hunters took those prices during the week. I think the Altior fan club, when they see P1 pieces first time, I think that's going to really, really ignite the race. I actually think Altior may even go a favourite. Got such a big popular opinion. And I think he could just, with the pieces on, not hit that flat spot. Altior for me again.
3:05, the race of the day. Certainly class-wise it is, isn't it? And it's going to be a lively betting heat. 3:40, let's get into a marathon because it is the feature race of the day. Feature handicap for certain, one of the season in its entirety. It is the Bet365 Gold Cup. 3 mile 5, 24 fences at Sandown for them to negotiate. Wide open field. Henry de Bromhead, Rachael Blackmore, they are engaged again. But before we go and look down, before we go down the panel, let's get a word from Christian Williams. I'm all over Kitty's Light, so I can't wait to see what he's got to say.
I was so lucky. Kitty's Light, we bought him in book 3, Newmarket flat sales. He had a great attitude, great mind, just a real nice horse. He's obviously got a big engine. We didn't expect to end up this good. He started off a novice handicap chase at Southwell, where he won quite impressively. Then he went on to Exeter, then won quite a good race. We pitched him in the deep end a little bit then, on the tricky track, Wincanton. A little bit unlucky, but he finished his race real well. And he went to Kelso then in a good prize, so he's had the best prep, we think. And he's going to end up now in the Bet365 at Sandown on Saturday. He's got a great profile for the race. You know, he usually finishes with his year's prick, so we just think Sandown the track, you know, the stiff uphill finish will suit him. He's not an over big horse, he's got a flat pedigree, so we just hope his jumping stands up. There just doesn't really seem to be a bottom to him. He always comes home well, he hits the line really well. Yeah, we're very hopeful. It'd be great to win the Bet365 just for the staff and the owner, and just raises the profile of the yard and sends us in the direction we want to go.
Kitty's Light then. I said to you when we came into the office, this has been the plan for this horse. I think he's plotted it brilliantly. You weren't so sure about that.
Well, I mean, the horse was rated about 100 a few months ago, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know how far in advance you're making plans. I mean, yeah, he's been an incredibly tough and progressive horse. I still can't get my head round a 5-year-old running in a Bet365 Gold Cup, let alone winning it. I certainly couldn't find, going through the books, couldn't find any. 2 6-year-olds have won it. One of them was taxidermist in 1958. That's how far you got to go back. The other one was Bounce Back, I think. And that's a good dozen years ago or so, anyway. So, yeah, I mean, on age, you can't have him at all. I can't have him on purely handicapping because he was behind El Presenti and Potterman in the Badger Beers at Wincanton early in the season, and he's miles worse off at the weights because they've been put away since. Potterman obviously ran in the Ladbroke Trophy unseated, but El Presenti was put away and then came out at Ludlow for a 4-runner race the other day. Big drifter in the market. I mean, he was obviously just being primed for this. The trainer said, I've always had him down as a Bet365 Gold Cup horse. So this has been the plan all season. He gets the ground that he really wants. I think he's just got to run a big race. I keep trying to find cases for outsiders like Bob Marlow and Doing Fine, and like Doing Fine loves Sandown. You know, will run a lot better than he ran at Uttoxeter the other day. Bob Marlow's won an Edinburgh National. He's £8 lower than when finishing third in the Kidmore 2 seasons ago. So it's, you know, they've got form in the book that gives them a chance, but I think, you know, certain horses have been laid out for them. El Presenti is one of them. I don't think there'll be that much between him and Potterman.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a stepping stone last time to this, wasn't it, to get him absolutely cherry ripe, and he's progressed all the way. I've got a feeling that this is Dave Bass' favourite horse in training, I think. He absolutely loves it. Yeah. That Badger Elves you're talking about, Kitty's Light, he walked through one on the far side and got so far back. If you watch that finish, he steams through. It was that race that made me think, right, we've got one here. His win at Exeter the time before that, he just keeps coming, he keeps finding. If he looks beat 4 out, I don't know, if you're playing in running, I'd be tempted to go in again. Yeah. Decent ground. The way that he kept him ticking along in those all-weather bumpers was a clever move. And he went to Kelso last time and showed what he's all about, I think. That form is fine for me.
We can't not mention Plan of Attack, obviously.
Yes.
Favourite, Henry de Bobhead, Rachael Blackmore. I mean, Pat was talking about thanking Henry de Bobhead for bringing Put the Kettle on, and I think Henry de Bobhead will be thanking Paul Nicholls for sending Clanders Oboe to punch us down, because he's no longer out of the handicap. I mean, more than half the field were going to be out of the handicap if Clan had run, and he was going to be £5 wrong. He's now clear favourite, which I think he was going as well as anything 4 out, and then stumbled after the third last.
That was in the Kinmure.
Yeah. It's unusual to have a horse with form figures PPAF favourite for a race like the Bet365 Gold Cup, but you can see where they're coming from. You're paying a premium for having it trained by Henry de Bobhead and ridden by Rachael Blackmore. But after the Cheltenham Lane Tree they had, you'd probably think that's worthwhile premium to pay, wouldn't you? So he's going to stay. He's going to be favourite. I prefer El Presente though.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go to Pat Cooney before we go to Dickie Johnson. I guessed at Plan of Attack, I thought all week that Kitty's Light would go our favourite for this, but you have to think that the public are just looking at one thing. Irish Horse, tick. Henry de Bromhead, tick. Rachael Blackmore, another massive tick.
Yeah, we saw it coming, really. I don't think you'd get much shorter than 4-1. It was just a case of taking cover, really, and positioning ourselves in the market, not to build up too much of an ante-post liability. Going to have his back, as he was probably unlucky at the festival, wasn't he? But there's plenty of life in this market. There's, you can make a plausible case out for many of these. You look at Enrillo, he's only had the 4 races. Kitty's Light, a 5-year-old. They're at the top of the market, but they're not exactly bomb-proof. A few of the jump gurus in the office fancy Golan Fortune of Phil Middleton with Tom Scudamore up. Tom rode the Scottish National winner the other day. This has got course form. I must admit, he didn't jump out the page for me initially when we got the entries through, and indeed at the 5-day stage. But I keep looking at him thinking, I'm warming to him. So Golan Fortune, but I think it's that type of a race. I think you could back a horse at 14-1, you're going to get a great run for your money. But I think Golan Fortune, I'll honour the jumps gurus in the office on this one.
Yeah, I don't think he was suited by the Midlands National Test. If he comes back to that Warwick form behind Next Destination, Fiddle on the Roof, Pat, I can see where the gambles come from. Dickie Johnson, you won this race twice. Lac Dudale 2006, Munkerhostin 2008. 2 great favourite horses there. Who wins?
Good question. I think Cross Park is a decent price. This is definitely a race you need a horse that stays. Even on fast ground, they'll sure to go a good strong gallop. You often get to the end of the back straight. You only 3 fences left to jump, but then all of a sudden from there to the winning post, a lot of horses just fade away, especially at this time of the season. And I think Cross Park is definitely a horse that stays. If you can forgive his running the Ida this year, where obviously didn't run a race. Obviously he's been very consistent. I know he's been frustrating if you've been backing him because he's been finishing second. But I thought at 9-1 he's probably a very good each way bet. I think he won't mind the ground. He'll stay really well. So I thought he's in what looks a really, really open race. I thought it's very hard to when the favourite's got, like you say, form figures like he has. I think you're very brave backing it at that shorter price.
Cross Park, an each-way dream, of course, Kills. And a lot of people had him down as a bit of a twicer, but he got beaten by single farm payment. And Ascot last time. I mean, how big a twicer? I mean,
I don't think Cross Park's a twicer at all, but I think it's an 11-year-old rated 150. For his age, he's been in the form of his life this year, but whether he's got that few pounds in hand of the handicapper, that was what would worry me. But yeah, you can see him running well.
And he absolutely loves Sandown. We love Sandown. We love this race. Good luck wherever you're playing in the 365 Gold Cup. Let's bring back our friends from myracing.com then. Check out their site for expert tips and analysis. And They're coming with a big race double for you again this weekend. Up at Leicester, Group 3 action on the flat. One of my favourites returns. They've gone for Pogo. If he bounces out, expected to take some catching. And in the 305 Grade 1 celebration chase at Sandown, they think So Royale will get the better of Altior. Weekend winner time then. Let's get the naps out of the way. I'll take the floor if you don't mind. In the 450 at Sandown, loads to look at this weekend, isn't there? Loads of favourites returning, flat horses that you're attracted to, of course. But in the 450, Killer Clown, Emma Laval, I think she will take this out. It's a race that Emma has won before. Loads going for him, Kills, that one.
Has got plenty going for him. I like him as well. I'm going for another horse that's developing into a cliff horse for me, and that is Solo, because I think he's now well treated, having been ludicrously overrated when he won the Adonis last year. He showed an awful lot more at Kelso, and I think the ground was a good deal softer than they gave, which he doesn't want. He gets fast ground now, and I think he's a decent price. He's going to be a decent horse over fences, I'm fairly sure. But tomorrow might be the day.
They were very happy with that run, I think, at Kelso Connections. It was a step back in the right direction. Pat Cooney.
Yeah, I wasn't going to nap this one because I struggled to pronounce the name, but it's going to be in the 415, number 6, Indefatigable, for Paul Webber and Rex Dingle. Apologies if I've got the name wrong, but I might get the name wrong, but I like the form and I like its chance. So Indefatigable in the 415 at Sandown.
That's Indefatigable for anyone else who's looking at it out there.
Only because you can say it.
Oh, trust me, I've had to say it in running quite a few times recently. Others have failed, and I nailed it somehow. Richard Johnson, give us a weekend winner.
Oh God, I'll try and pronounce one I can pronounce. So I think Pazolf.
Don't give up the day job, Rich. Oh no, yes.
Anyway, Pazolfsky in the 155 for Chris Gordon, the first Sandown. I think he's got a great away chance.
I'll tell you what, Rich, the jocks do watch this show, and that has just made their weekend. Happy days out there. Okay, so Pawlowski, have I got that right? I think it is in the opener for Richard Johnson. There are your weekend winners. Okay, that's all we've got time for here then on What a Shout. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. If you have and you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, of course. Anything on Twitter this weekend, let us know. The panellists read the feedback throughout the weekend. Hashtag What a Shout. Paul Kealy, what a pleasure it has been to have you back in with me again.
Yeah, good fun, enjoyed it. I shall get up tomorrow morning and shed a little tear that I won't be getting ready and going out to Sandown. I'll have to make do with the TV, unlike Pat Cooney.
Yes, he's going to skip out of bed knowing that knowledge, isn't he, Pat Cooney? Thanks for joining us once more. Enjoy the day tomorrow, Pat.
Yes, I'll do my best, and I will shed a tear for Keels, and I will be thinking of him tomorrow.
He'll be getting up again, absolutely like that. And an absolute pleasure. No longer riding the four-time champion jockey, Richard Johnson. Richard, of course, life is a bit more chilled out for you now. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully when you come and do your hat-trick on this show, we'll have you back in the studio. Life will be somewhat back to normal. But, of course, you've got plenty going on at the moment. And, of course, ARC have reeled you in, haven't they?
Yeah, actually going to Worcester today to obviously their first meeting back for 18 months, and just going to hopefully help all the art race courses, the jump courses with their sort of layouts of their ground, and hopefully I'll be a sort of a helpful hand to their race courses going forward.
Thanks a lot then, Dickie. Generally one of the most exciting and laughable shows I think we've done. Absolutely fantastic scenes. And thank you for watching out there. Don't forget, safe gambling this weekend. That's what it's all about. Don't forget to download the must-have free Racing Post app. You can do that on the App Store or the Google Play Store itself. Until then, there's a lot of sport. We'll be back next week. Enjoy it.